Hello and welcome to this episode of the Great British Mickey Waffle. It's the middle of February. It is cold and dreary, but we are all thinking about what to do when we make it back to Walt Disney World. In this episode, we have some utterly amazing things to discuss with an equally amazing guest. But fair warning, you will need your pen, your paper, and perhaps even your credit card at hand. So let's get on with the show.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I
go. Today's show is a topic that we have previously skirted around the edges of, probably, and discussed from our perspective, but we definitely didn't do it justice. So I'm super excited for the conversation that's coming. But I can't do this alone. I'm Claire, and joining me tonight, I've got John. Are you okay, John?
I am, Claire. I'm just expecting this is gonna be a costly show. I just got that feeling in my bones that I'm going to end up at the end of this with a list of about 10 things that I want to do on my next trip to Orlando. So
I know. Yeah. I think
I'm prepared. I'm prepared already for it.
Write the letter to the bank manager in advance. And we've also got Ben. You're right, Ben? You've made it back to the UK.
Yes, and I want to correct something that was in a previous episode, that there was a lot of talk about whether we were going to buy Epcot tickets while we were out and visit Disney. We didn't.
Did you?
We didn't know. We did the whole Universal trip, and we went to Disney Springs and probably spent more than what Epcot tickets would cost. But I have to admit, it was a nice break. The weather was wintry for a few days, but I have to admit it was incredible. I'm definitely glad that we've gone back to Epic. And
did Becca get a new Dooney and Burke?
She didn't get a Dooney Burke, but she did get a few Spirit jerseys. We did go to the outlet and find a Disney Treasure Spirit jersey. And Becca's not joining us today because of her jet lag at the moment, but I think it's more because it might be a safer thing for our bank account, because the show is going to be an expensive one.
Are you suggesting that Becca is the instigator in the spending? I think that's a little bit harsh.
Yeah, I think it is as well.
I'm looking forward to her listening back.
Well, today we also have an incredible guest with us, an expert Disney travel agent with MEI and Travel who really knows their Disney stuff. So welcome for the first time to the Great British Mickey Waffle, Sue Passauer. Welcome, Sue.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to be on the show with y'all. I've listened to the Great British Mickey Waffle for many years. After I think I initially met Ben, and then Claire, I had the honor of meeting you through another podcast that we do. But I'm so excited because I have wonderful clients that live over in the UK, and I'm going to be excited to tell them, you need to go listen to hear me. So.
Yeah, so you're the official travel advisor and friend to our show buddies, Married to a Disney Addict, or Matt and Crystal, as we like to know them. So we have poached you for today's show with their consent and their approval. So thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
So we've asked Sue to join us today to talk about the added extras. These are like the amazing add-ons, special events, experiences, tours, and even the VIP things you can add to your Walt Disney World holiday. Some of them we have experienced, and some remain on our collective bucket lists. Ben, I hope you have the Great British Mickey Waffle checkbook at the ready.
Oh no, here we go again.
I know.
I can feel, when you can start, like, your heart is thumping a little bit. You know this is going to cost money. This is going to be an expensive episode. Last month we talked about how to save you money. This is why.
With
so that you can spend it all on the things we're going to talk about.
It's all about balance in 2026, isn't it? Save 1 month, spend it the next.
Right? That's Disney girl maths.
It is, but you can't take it with you, so you might as well experience and make the memories. That's it.
You save it in one place and you spend it somewhere else. That's how this works. But first, Sue, we know you love Disney things, and as it's your first time on our show, a bit like Married to a Disney Addict put people through their lightning lane, we have been asking our guests to answer the carousel of questions for nearly 6 years. So I'm afraid it's your turn. We're going to take it in turns to ask you a few questions. And as John likes to remind people, go with your heart. Don't overthink.
Yeah.
Some of the
And you
questions.
can change all your answers tomorrow. So, it's that whole thing. You just sort of, you blurt it out, and then a couple of hours later, you're like, oh, why did I say that? I could have said something else.
I could have said this.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Pressure. The
You're right.
pressure is
Yeah.
palpable right
Yeah.
now.
Afterwards, you're like, the intelligent answer was that. Why did I say okay, so I'm going to start and ask you, which is your favorite park?
It's easy. Magic Kingdom. That's where I grew up experiencing with my parents and my family growing up. It's still the park that I want to go to today. There's no doubt about it. Magic Kingdom, walking down Main Street, nothing better.
That's such a good
Amazing.
choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one is, what ride do you hate?
What ride do I hate? Oh, wow. That's a terrible question.
Swear, Sue. Be well.
I hate any ride. And boy, I really could turn some people off with this answer, couldn't I?
We've had
a
all
ride,
sorts.
a ride that I'm going to say, I'll say it this way, not ride that I hate, probably I'll say my least favorite ride. Let's do it that way.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of the magic carpets of Aladdin. I think it sits in a really weird spot. It just doesn't fit for me. It's a good fill-in space, but that's just a ride that I don't care for very much. It should be just Dumbo. Dumbo is the thing that goes in circles, and I'm not crazy about magic carpets of Aladdin.
Fair enough. Although the spitting camels are quite fun. If you're in one of the carpets with someone who doesn't know that it's going to spit inwards.
I will give you that. The spitting camels can be comical.
Yeah. I'll go next. So, what is your most overrated snack at Walt Disney World?
Oh, most overrated snack. The Disney pretzel. I think they're dry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of the pretzels.
I love them.
My son loves them, but I'm not a pretzel lover.
Gosh, that pretzel at the Baseline Tap House.
Mickey pretzel, that's a different pretzel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Baseline Tap
There's a
House
different
pretzel.
level of
That's
pretzels.
ginormous. That's like saying the pretzel at Pim's Test Kitchen in Disneyland isn't good. That's delicious. But just the ones that hang out in the little churro, the little carts. Just they don't do much for me. I usually bathe them in cheese if I have to eat one. So.
Fantastic. Okay, Sue. So what is your favorite transportation mode in Walt Disney World?
This is a tough one because there's two. And everybody's going to say everybody will say the monorail. I'm sure that's probably a lot of people, but that's my favorite transportation mode in Disneyland is going down Main Street in one of the old-time vehicles.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah. There's just something iconic about that. I do that a lot when I go to Disneyland because they're much more prevalent there than they are in Walt Disney World. But yeah, the transportation vehicles in Magic Kingdom.
Do you have a favorite one?
Just the trolley that's pulled by the horses. What I love, and I've actually had the opportunity a few times, is to be on it when they have the Dapper Dans singing.
You're talking my language.
Yeah, and if you've got the Dapper Dans hanging off the side of it, singing as you're going down, Main Street, USA, up to the castle, I don't think it gets much better than that.
No. That's like bucket list for me. I love the Dapper Dans so much. And, we often talk about how sad we are on this show that the trolley show is no longer a thing. I wish for the day that it returns, but whether it ever will or not.
It might. We can always keep our fingers crossed.
I keep hope.
We keep hope.
Okay, so the next one is, what is your favorite table service restaurant?
Oh, wow. Favorite table service restaurant. Oh, I really like to eat too, guys. This is a tough one. I needed a prep course for this one.
Oh, this is why we do it cold, because
I'm probably gonna say favorite table service restaurant is. You know what? I'm gonna go with Le Cellier. I really like Le Cellier. I think the steaks there are good, and the poutine is delicious. My only pet is I love the food there. It's cold. I always have to make sure I have a pullover when I go on in there
Oh,
because I
really?
find the restaurant's always cool, but the food is delicious.
Yes. I haven't been to the
That's
Cellier for
nice.
years, and now I
No.
want to go.
We've
Yeah,
never
I'm the
been.
same.
It's
You've
just,
never been?
no.
Oh, it's
No.
really
Well,
good.
see, break out the
Yeah.
checkbook. It's a
Right.
two table service meal place. So
Yeah.
you're paying cash when you go there. If you want my recommendation,
Mm.
Oh, wow. Here we go. Tell us a resort that you haven't stayed at, but you want to more than anything else on earth.
I'm gonna make y'all. I don't think there's a resort I haven't stayed at, guys.
Oh.
I wondered if that might be your
I did
answer
think
to
that
that.
you
That
might
is-
say that.
that
You know
is a
what? Wait,
quality
I'm gonna
answer.
correct that. Wait, there is, and I'm gonna get this rectified. You just made me think about this because I mean I'm going back now. Listen, I've been going to Walt Disney World since 1972. We went when I was 2 years old. I mean, now let me just show my age. But we went there when I was 2 years old, and my parents loved it. So Walt Disney World was an annual trip for us. But the only resort, and you know what? And I'll say I am dying to stay there because I want to Riviera. I have not stayed at the Riviera Resort
you know
yet.
what?
Ah,
Well,
Oh,
there
that's
we
amazing.
are. That sounds like a
there you
goal.
go.
Yeah.
So I, you know what? I'm going to knock that off. I'm going to tell you in the next year, I will make sure I stay at Riviera Resort.
Fantastic.
It's well worth it. We've stayed one of the tower rooms there. The
Yeah,
sort
those are great. Those are
Yeah.
great for doubles.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sue, this is a very British question, and bear with us. Which is your favourite car park or parking lot in Walt Disney World?
My favorite car park. You know what? I mean, I don't. I very rarely drive a vehicle when I'm at Disney. I very almost never drive a vehicle when I'm at Disney. I'm very much into using their transportation. I'm going to go from a convenience sake here. Because when I get to a park, the first thing I want to do is I want to get in it as quick as I can. And I usually find that you could do that the quickest at Epcot. It's probably the most convenient car park that they have on property.
We have had so many different answers to that
Yeah.
question, from Lime Garage to, all sorts of other things. So it just shows that
I
everyone
can
has
only imagine. That's an interesting one. I'll have to remember that.
Okay, so going on a water park theme here. So Typhoon, Blizzard, or Volcano Bay.
Volcano.
That's
Oh,
up the road.
wow. You threw a different one in there. The dark
Yeah.
park down the street, then.
Yeah.
Wow, you thought you were going to trip me up, didn't you? I am going to say, I'm loyal to the mouse. I hate to say it. I've experienced Universal, and although Volcano Bay is a beautiful park, I'm gonna go Blizzard Beach. I'm gonna go Blizzard Beach.
Mm.
I don't know. I like the winter theme. I think it's fun. I think it's probably one of the best themed parks across everything. I just really, they put a lot of thought, a lot of creativity into that. And I appreciate that.
I always think, when I think about Blizzard Beach, do you know what I think about? At like the middle of summer, the heat, and standing at the bottom of those ski run slides where the bell rings as everyone comes down, is like that ringing of like the Alpine bell as someone comes down.
And it doesn't feel as hot when you're standing amongst fake molded snow.
Best way of cooling down.
It's
Yeah.
a way. It's a psychological thing. When you see
Yeah,
a
it must be.
snowman, you instantly think it's cooler than what it is.
I'm gonna make you flip a coin between Disney and the Dark Place again. So, Galaxy's Edge or Diagon Alley?
Oh, wow. Okay, everybody close their ears here. I'm going to go Diagon Alley. It's pretty phenomenal. That is one place that if you told me you could just go spend all 3 days and do the three Wizarding Worlds of Harry Potter, I'm going to jump there every day. They're incredible. They're so well thought out. And what I love there is every time I go there, there's something I miss. And quite frequently like that in Disney too. You can always find something new, but there's so many intricate details in Diagon Alley. And I know, Diagon Alley, that one's not a difficult one.
Okay. Early morning or late night park visit?
Early morning. Early morning. I'm a morning girl, and there's nothing better than rope drop. There's I know it's included. It's called vacation for many people, but one of the things that I tell my clients is rope drop and taking advantage of that extra 30 minutes before other non-resort guests can get in. You just don't understand the tremendous advantage that is. You can really get some things done. So yeah, early morning, and I get tired. I get tired at night.
Okay, are you a keep the magic or backstage detail?
I'm gonna keep the magic. I don't. Years and years ago, I actually worked for the Walt Disney Company. Not at the parks. I worked at the Disney store. And as funny as enough, they actually recruited me to work for them because I did collectibles. I knew more about the collectibles than the people in the store. So they said, "Can you come work for us?" And it worked out great because I got a great discount on a lot of collectibles.
Yeah.
But the hard part was seeing behind the magic. And it kind of took away from it. So I'm a keep the kind of magic girl.
That's a really well thought out answer, that, sir. And I actually, yeah, I think once you've worked there, I think I get that. I think that's a really, yeah, I can see exactly where you're coming from. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the final stage of it all. What's your favorite other podcast or vlogger about Disney?
Say that again. My thing glitched a little
bit. Your favorite, obviously not us, right? Okay, we'll take that as read that we'll be one of your favorites. So, what's your favorite other podcast or vlogger about
podcasts for Disney? Well, I mean, guys, this would be sacrilegious if I didn't say it. I'm gonna cheat here, and I'm gonna tell you two. Okay, and y'all are probably very familiar with this. Of course, Married to a Disney Addict. Crystal and Matt, wonderful new community that's growing. I know we actually have a fun group cruise coming up, our first this year. Now, not this coming year, this year.
This year.
But also, I'm going to say, I know many of you are familiar with Lou Mangello and WDW Radio.
Yeah.
If I can tell you, that is the show that actually got me into being a travel agent almost 13 years ago. It's how I met the owner of our company, Becky Menken. And it's where I've met my very best friends through that podcast and its running team and all of that. So, my very best friend I met because of that podcast, because of the running team. So I'm going to cheat and say two.
You can have
You're
two.
very welcome to it, definitely.
And I think we all recognise the place that Lou holds in Disney podcasting heritage, and we all do this.
Yeah, he's kind of like the OG. He's the
Podfather, I believe he's known as.
He is definitely. He's definitely encouraged so many people to follow their passion of talking about Disney. And like Claire mentioned earlier, I love the fact that he's got such a positive community, and that's what I like about Matt and Crystal's community. It's what I like about your community. I like the ones that it really is a beautiful thing that Disney does. And, you can always find negative in everything, but there's so much positive and happiness that it brings to people's lives. And that's why I love this job I do so much.
Totally. That's amazing. Okay, 2 more questions and then we're done with this. So I think I know what your answer will be to this one, but on-site or off-site stay?
On-site. This not even a consideration.
That's quick.
You missed the magic.
Yep.
You missed the magic when
there
you
was no
stay
pause
off-site.
for think. It was just
it's
and this
done.
is the crazy thing about it is people are like, oh, I want to go stay at a good neighbor hotel. And what they don't realize is the Disney hotels are just as good a value as the good neighbor hotels. And and you get better benefits, and they're easier. So, I think it's just a lot of times people don't know. And that's part of our job through podcasting and through, the work that I do is making them understand, giving them choices and making them understand what's best and, what actually can fit in their budgets and things like that. So,
Yeah.
How many times we've priced up a off-site stay in a hotel and it was like, it actually works out when you add resort fee, car parking and all of that. It's like, I might as well say the Pop Century.
Car hire,
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've left the best question till last. And
This is a
one that has
very
been-
important question.
This has been a long-running
I'm scared
question.
now. I'm
So,
scared now.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favourite out of Festival of the Lion King or Finding Nemo the musical?
Ooh, Festival of the Lion King or Finding Nemo, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Festival of the Lion King. It there's just something about the music and excitement in that show that it gets me pumping every time we're in there. I'm not real good at the animal sounds like the bleed, the sheep and all that. But I really do enjoy that show. It's a longtime favorite, and I really really enjoyed that show.
I think it's a bit of a bone of contention in this team, because until actually August last year, we had friends that worked in both shows. So it was always a bit of a balance as to who was going to win. So we always ask that question, and it works out fairly 50-50 most
Does
of the
it
time.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
There
does.
you go. That's surprising to me, but no, that's a pretty easy one for me.
Great. Well, thank you for
Depends how
answering.
many people. Depends how many people Katie has got to.
That's
before the
true,
show
yeah.
comes out.
Thank you, Sue, for answering those ridiculous questions.
They were fun.
You will
They
never
were
have
fun.
to do it again.
Sure.
So we're going to talk today about the fact that there are so many ways to plus your Walt Disney World vacation. And I'm certain we won't be able to cover everything, but I tried to pull a bit of a shortlist together, and I thought maybe we should start, because I think this is probably where most of our experience sits, with tours, backstage tours. I was going to say VIP tours. I've never done a VIP tour. I'd like to, but things like, I think we've all done Keys to the Kingdom.
Yep.
Is that right? Ben, you've done it, haven't you?
Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times, but those sorts of
same here.
tours that you can add.
Like Wild Africa Trek and
Yes.
Yep.
What are the options? What should we be thinking about, do you think, Sue, if we were looking at plussing a vacation with a tour of some kind?
It really depends on your interest. I mean, you mentioned it, and Ben just mentioned it with the animals. There are, a couple of tours over there. You've got the Caring for Giants, which is with respect to you get a behind the scenes look at the elephants.
Mhm.
You've got Up Close with Rhinos that does the same basic thing, but focuses on rhinos. These are really in-depth tours. They're not really long. Some of them are longer, such as I think you said you did the Wild Africa Trek. But they offer a number of tours that are bookable before you get there, that kind of offer, you have a Disney expert, one of the what I'll call veterinarians, I guess, one of the Disney staff members who leads that tour, that's in charge of that animal team. I don't know how much you've ever dove into what Disney does for these animals. You see a lot of it when you take the train and you go backstage, when you're going to Conservation Station, you'll see
We're
the
all looking
pens
over
where
the-
they...
Trying to look over the barriers and trying to
Yeah.
peek through.
Yeah, and it's and it's really cool. And a lot of people sit there and think, oh my gosh, these animals, I can't believe that they make them go here. And what people don't realize, and I think a lot of people have never been told this, is the animals are really on their own free will. They know where their pens are. The way they get them back to their pens, or because they put their food there at night. But they know where their pens are, but they don't have to go back. They're in their own free run. And the same thing is, they don't have to go out on stage either. If they don't feel like performing, they don't need to go perform. They know that's where their food's going to be, so they typically go there. But you really get if you're interested or with rhinos or elephants, these are two wonderful tours. They give you the behind the scenes. That you do have to have park admission already. It doesn't include your park admission, but they give you this behind the scenes look on how they care for them, what they do if they get sick, how do they, try to encourage reproduction. Some of these animals are, rare.
Mhm.
And they try to foster conservation and, making sure that these animals don't fall onto the endangered species list. So if you're a true animal lover, those are two that are really, really wonderful.
Yeah. I've done the Caring for Giants tour twice, actually. I did it once on my own and once with a family. And I would say that I think it's incredible value for money. I think it's like $39 or something. And it's an hour, but it's a fat hour. Ours were about an hour and a half almost.
Yeah.
And as you say, the cast member who's there is from they're not from the parks team, they're from the veterinary team. So there are slightly different rules you can, and our cast members were saying, ask all the questions you think you're not allowed to ask. So my daughter was hysterical. She was like, can you tell me, are those rocks real rocks or are they Disney rocks? And he's like, you are quite right, they are Disney rocks. So, but asking like all of those questions around how do they care for them? What are the things that make it okay for an elephant to be out on stage? I learned some incredible facts about the fact the elephants have to be able to swim to be able to go out on stage, which who would
They
think
do.
that who would think that that's something that it was just the most wonderful, and it was so easy to do in the middle of a park day because you're only away from the park experience for about an hour and a half. And
Right.
it's just fantastic. I thought it was definite. I would do it, the elephant one again. I have never been able to book the up close with rhinos. I've tried so many times, but they only do it once a day, I think, and it's so in demand that it's so hard to book.
It's very, and not to say the big thing for those, and not to say you always keep a few trips up your sleeve, but that's when that staying on site and booking window really helps on trying to get those. But they do go tremendously fast. They're limited in slots. You're right with the price. They're, I think, between $35 to $39 a person. They say the tour's an hour, but give or take, by the time you get there and they put you through the educational part in the beginning of what you have to do during the tour, and you get back, it usually rounds off to about an hour and a half. But it's a nice break from the day. It's something different from riding the rides and doing that. You actually feel like you get a little education while you're there. And the kids love it because they can ask the questions, like, what do they eat? What do you feed them? When do they go to sleep?
Yeah.
And it's really cute to learn about how how the packs stay intact, and how they care for one another. You really don't realize they're more like human. They're probably better humans than some humans are, the way they protect and care for each other.
I find it fascinating how well they knew each animal. They've all got a personality and they know exactly, the team that look after them know exactly how to deal with each individual elephant. They've all got their own quirks and it's like they're part of the big family that's going on at Animal Kingdom. I find that, you don't always, when you're going around the safari and you see the big bull elephant out on safari, you don't think about the rest of their day and all of that stuff. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. That's why I did it twice.
They're wonderfully curated tours. And, Disney takes a lot of time to make sure that they take care of those animals. And I think they're trying to let people know what they do because this isn't like it's not a zoo per se. There's a lot of purpose and research that goes behind these animals that they try to help with, to care for them in the wild and what they can do that's better for these animals. And I think a lot of people miss that it really is an educational part, and these tours give you great insight into that.
And Ben, you mentioned Wild Africa. I know you and Becca have done Wild Africa Trek.
I
did Wild Africa Trek.
Yeah.
Much to my anxiety of crossing that rope bridge. I
Do you know
did
what?
it.
Becca had the same thing, same anxiety of the rope bridge and
Yeah, but did you
scared of
did you
heights.
have
but
someone? Did she have someone bouncing the rope bridge behind her while she was doing
She
it?
made sure I went
did.
first. She made sure I
I
went
wonder who
first.
that was,
Hey,
Claire.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys did it, and then I did it, and I thought
Yeah.
Wild Africa was. It's a more expensive tour.
Yeah.
But we had.
It was
I actually
about-
had the same cast member who'd done my first caring for elephants.
Oh, really?
Did you
for Caring
really?
for Giants. Yeah, and he did our Wild Africa, and I was so excited because he was amazing on Caring for Giants. And then I got there, and Logan was our cast member for Wild Africa, and I was over the moon, and we had the best day.
It was amazing. And just the thing about it, and it is an expensive tour. It was just over $200 when we booked it. I think it's gone up a little bit more now. But
I think it's about it ranges
220.
between, I think, 230 to 240, 250.
yeah, I think because we've got Disney Vacation Club, we got a discount on it. Or if you were a new pass holder, you get a
That's
little
nice.
discount on it as well. And it was just trying to work out, it was such a good value, and it was difficult trying to work out when to book it because we were there in June. So obviously knowing what Florida weather's like, we end up booking it in sort of like the middle of the afternoon. So it was quite hot, but it was incredible. We did have an incredible food as well that was included with it. And it was just fresh. It was just the experience of it and all the photos you get for the memories afterwards.
I forgot that you get the photos.
I was about to
included.
say, yeah, they do.
Yeah, the photos are
they take
absolute-
photos the whole time you're on it.
I
I
can
think.
see-
You
forgot
don't
that.
realise there's so many pictures of like, wait, that's me and Becca walking just sort of towards part of the tour. And it was like, oh, they're just, I think we got about 30, 40 photos.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it
and
really,
they
it documents the
download
whole
them.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it does. It's
Everyone
really
clinging
cool.
to the bridge.
yeah.
The only thing that I will mention with that, and a lot of people ask, that is one of the best VIP experiences that if you want to add on, you can. But do know that there are age limits and height limits with that tour. So you have to be very careful with that. You don't want to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and then realize your little kid can't go on it.
Yeah.
But you do have to be a minimum of 8. And I think you do have to be 4 feet tall, if I remember right, in order to do, because they have to fit you in vest and harnesses at times. And because of that, you do have some age restrictions that go with that.
Yeah, but it's such good fun, and
Yeah.
I felt like I combated a fear of heights that day, and I would do it again. And actually, I've been trying to persuade my daughter to do it in the summer, but we'll see.
Wow.
She's umming and ahhing about it. She's really on. She's 13, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I do the bridge." I was like, "If I can do it, you can do it." I think she would love it. It follows that sort of educational element as well. You learn so much walking around. Brilliant tour. And then over in Magic Kingdom, we've got Keys to the Kingdom. That's still 5 hours, is it?
It is. It's 5
least?
hours. It's 5 hours. It starts late in the morning. I think it runs anywhere from about $150 to $160, if memory serves me correct. The key there is it's taking you behind, as Ben said, it takes you behind the magic. And because of that, in order to do the tour, you have to be at least 14 years old. They're not going to let you go on the tour if you're any younger than that. But
Can I just interrupt there, Sue, as well? And for anyone who's taking children, they will be expected to show photographic ID.
John fell
your
foul
age.
of this.
And actually, yeah. And we turned up, and our Joe was with us. He at the time, I think, he was
17?
He was 17, yeah. And I ended up scrolling through my phone for a single photograph that I'd taken of his passport, because I never even thought about taking the passport as proof that he actually was over age. Obviously, his youthful looks he gets off his mother, not from me. But it was one of them moments that you thought the person behind the desk was actually having a bit of a laugh at you, but they weren't. They had to know that person was over 14 years of age, and actually we could have really fallen foul of that. And obviously Joe would have been left to sit on his own for 4 or 5 hours. While the rest of the family went and enjoyed the tour. But yeah, just a real word of warning there. Do make sure you take photo ID, or at least,
that is
some form of proof.
Really good point.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great plus add. It's not one of those tours that's difficult to add. You can usually get it if you try as soon as your opening day starts. Most people, they do it once, and it's not something that people repeat. But you get to go in the utilidors downstairs, which is really, really cool. It gives a whole new meaning to think that you're walking on the second level of the park when you're in some of those places. And people will be like, "What do you mean?" And it's like, "Yeah, you're on the second level." And they're like, "Oh," and it's like, "Yeah, you are." But it's a great way to see behind the magic, get a little bit better understanding about how Disney operates and how people get from place to place. It's a lot of fun, but just prepare yourself. It does pull back that screen. So if you're a person that doesn't want that screen pulled back, it might not be the tour for you.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's fascinating. And when I was putting the list together today, there was things that I thought if you were going for the first trip ever, you might not want to do. And I think Keys to the Kingdom probably sits in that bracket. If it was my first ever visit to Walt Disney World and I've never seen it, I've never experienced it, I'm not sure that would be one that I would recommend. But certainly if you're a repeat visitor who's hungry for all that detail, that would be an amazing thing to add on. And everyone I've spoken to who's ever done it they've all said it was amazing. They've all said, I learned something. It was amazing to go and see this, see the parade being prepped or whatever it was that you got to see that day. And it isn't always the same, which is quite nice.
Yeah, most of the people that I know do this kind of like you say. They're people who go to Disney so frequently, they're always looking for a little bit something extra. It's people who go and they want to, we're not going to go to the park every day. We're going to enjoy our resort one day, and they'll do, and this will be something that I'll suggest and say, hey, have you ever done this? It's really cool to see the behind the scenes and how the park operates. So if you have a really good understanding of Disney, I agree 100%, Claire. It's something great for the person who's been maybe 5-6 times that wants a little bit different, because you can go 4 times and never do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe on the 5th time you're repeating things.
Definitely. Now, the final tour I want to talk about is one that none of us have done, but Sue, I know you have. And I'm very jealous that you have done a VIP tour.
I have. I was so very, very lucky to actually do one this past year, and this year with Crystal and Matt with Married. But I've luckily been able to do a few of them. Look, VIP tours, they are what they are. They will run anywhere, just to be upfront about it. They're going to run anywhere from $450 on a low period time to where if you're at a high period time, they could be as much as $900 an hour. Yeah, that's, what? That's if you want to go do one on Christmas Day. That's if you want to go do one the day after Thanksgiving. That's very rare. I would find that most of them probably run in the $600 an hour range. That's usually a pretty good average of what they are. It's a minimum of 7 hours that you have to do for the tour. And it's a maximum of 10 people, which... if you think about it, if you go over and Ben goes over and Claire, you go over and John goes over, you've got, you make 3 couples and then you add a couple other couples in and you take it and you divide it. It's not such a bad thing. But the VIP tour, there's a number of things that, it does. One of the things is it gives you ride access. Disney does a really good job of listening to what you're looking for. I always encourage people that when you're doing a VIP tour, more information you can give them up front about your travel party, about what's important to you, and literally ask for a guide that kind of is going to fit your energy for the day. Some people are more interested in getting the hey, we don't want to go as such a fast pace. We're not worried about, we know the rides we want to ride, but we want somebody that's really steeped in Disney lore, Disney history, that can tell us about the windows when we walk down Main Street. Or if you have somebody like, perfect example, I actually had a friend of mine that gifted one to my son and his girlfriend when they went. He had just returned from deployment, and that was the one trip he wanted to go to when he came back from serving overseas. Is he wanted to go to Disney World for the week, and a friend gave him a VIP tour. And
Amazing.
luckily, I know a couple of the guides, and I was like, "This is the perfect guide for you." And I was like, "Look, they're high energy. They want to hit everything, and they'll do it. 4 parks in one day. If you want to do it and hit all the big coasters, the VIP tour is the way to go to do it." But the more information you give them, the best. As far as what the VIP tour is you are picked up at your resort hotel if you so choose. They will pick you up by private vehicle. They will take you. You do not go through the standard entrances at the park if you're picked up at your resort. You actually go through what we'll say backstage entrances. So you don't have to go through the screening line and all of that. They screen you once when they scan your ticket for the first time. And then you're done with screenings. You get to go through that. Now, just take this as a tip recommendation. If you're picked up at your hotel, it's about a 30-minute process to get to the park. You've just paid a lot of money for a 7-hour tour. I'll give you a free tip of the day. Don't have them pick you up at your hotel. Meet them at whatever park you want to start your tour at. That'll give you 30 more minutes of park time.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So get on the monorail, get on the bus, go wherever. They have designated places to meet that are at the front of each park, and save yourself some time there. And then you lay out the day. I know when we went on it, just recently, we started in Hollywood Studios. We did almost every ride we wanted in Hollywood Studios. There is no such thing. You go through lightning lanes, or you may go in through a different entrance other than the lightning lanes. But you get that VIP Express Pass Limited, or Lightning Lane Unlimited, where you don't have to worry about scheduling times. They bring you in, they enjoy the ride. Sometimes the VIP guide will ride with you, sometimes they won't. If you ask them to, they will. But most of the times they'll stay off. They'll hold your bags, they'll get you water, they'll get you popcorn. It's always great when you go on a ride and you come out and they're standing there with churros and water. So, but really, they're your own personal park concierge for the day. And it's an investment. I mean, if you look at $600 times 7 for the day, that's $4,200. But if you have limited time and you are able to do it, you'll meet them in the park. You'll do what you want there. When you're ready to go, they have a valet service that brings the car up to the back entrance. You get in the car, you get snacks on the way to the car. They bring you to the next park. You go in, you could go ride. Like, we started in Hollywood. We rode almost everything there. We left there and we went to Epcot. We went and rode Guardians of the Galaxy. That was it. That's all we went to Epcot for, was to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. And then we left there and we went to Magic Kingdom and spent the rest of the day there riding. So the number of rides that we got in, it was phenomenal. One of the best parts, though, of the whole thing is if you end it with a fireworks viewing. Particularly in the Magic Kingdom, they have their own personal fireworks viewing spot that only VIP guests get into.
Wow.
I have never, ever, ever, on a crowded night, been able to sit on the grass and just relax and spread out and
Amazing.
watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks over the castle. That right there was worth the entire day. And then after that, we were lucky enough that we had a private viewing area for Paint the Night, the Dreamlight Parade, the Dream Parade.
Starlight, yeah.
Starlight.
Oh, cool.
I keep mixing Paint the Night and Starlight. I want to combine the
Paint the
two
light.
terms.
Paint the light.
Paint the light. But we actually had a beautiful view. The view
Amazing.
up there is actually from the upper level of the train station.
Oh, wow.
So you get to see the parade as it comes down Main Street.
Cool.
And, they have bottled water, they have snacks up there. And,
Amazing.
it was just the end to a phenomenal day.
I just think, if you've got
Actually-
10 people,
That's $420 each.
right. So I'm just thinking that's 300
just doing
quid
the maths.
for us.
I'm doing the maths.
Yeah,
on
I'm
this.
sure John's got his
just
calculator
done it.
out already.
But it
really
is though,
think
it's
about it.
£300 each.
Right.
It works out as if there's 10 of you in your party. Now, I'm just putting it out there. If anyone's listening to this and you've booked yourself a VIP tour and you're missing maybe, you got space for one more in August upcoming, then just get in touch with us. I'll be more than happy.
We'll fight
More than
for it
happy to
because
just
we're all
pay.
there at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When you think
I mean,
about
really.
experience, actually,
Yeah.
And all those little add-ons that they do, about the only thing you have to think about is when you would like to stop and use the restroom. Or should I call it the loo?
Yeah.
Is that
yeah,
better?
that's right.
The
Yeah,
water closet? But that's it. I mean, they if you tell them what you want to do, they plan out your day. They put in snack breaks. If you need to stop, they'll do that. Now, you do have the advantage if you want, and I'll stress this, that if you're going to end, I always say it's nice to end in Magic Kingdom because of the fireworks and the parade. You do have to have that time period built into your tour. So if you start your tour at 12 o'clock and you go 7 hours, your tour is going to end at 7 and you don't have access to the fireworks viewing station. You have to have your tour end during that time.
Okay.
You can add same day up to 2 hours onto your tours.
Okay.
So, if you want, typically what I tell people is go into the park you want to start in, go ride whatever rides, do whatever you want to do that day. I will typically tell my clients, start your tour at like 1, depending on if you're going to be prepared to add, start your tour at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Go get a nice big lunch before you start it. That way you're full and then you can kind of, you don't want to stop for an hour and eat when you're paying that, you want to just be able to grand snack. So, start it a little bit later in the day. The crowds aren't bad in the morning. Start it a little bit later in the day. And then, get going from there.
And that is why we invited you on, Sue, because I
Absolutely.
would have been like 9 a.m. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got it all wrong. So, that's such a good point in terms of like the eating time and making the most value out of that time that you've got your VIP tour guide with you. I'm going to have to do some maths for the summer.
I was just doing a little bit, I was just doing a little bit of comparison here because actually, I know we talked about earlier about doing like the Wild Africa trek, which works out at around about £190 per person. So again, if you are a bigger group, the opportunity to split this again, just an extra £100, but you've got like 7 hours.
7 hours, and I'm telling you guys, you
get a lot done.
Hey, you don't, and you do get some snacks. So I know personally, what was even best is while we were on Guardians of the Galaxy, she went and got a Starbucks.
Ooh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, that's the deal.
That was the deal breaker right there.
Just not having to deal with the queue at Starbucks and
we were on
Epcot.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
So, it doesn't get much better than that.
So every time I've looked at booking a VIP tour, how do you do it? Because from the UK, it's quite tricky because we obviously can't. We have to use a VPN to book any of this stuff anyway. But I think most UK people.
Yeah.
But when I've looked at it, it says phone here. Ring
Yeah.
this number. Is that the only way to book it? I don't know.
It really is the best way to book it.
Okay.
So, is to book when they open. You cannot book it online. It's one of the few VIP experiences that you can't. But if you have a travel agent that you're working with, many of them include that as part of their services.
Okay.
So, that's one of the things that you want to do. And, we talk about this sometimes with travel agents. You really want to vet your travel agent. You want to find somebody that fits well for you.
Mhm.
And, don't be scared to ask them what services will they provide for you. Some won't do those services. I think most probably will.
Mhm.
But that's one of the things that's really important when you're choosing someone to work with. Maybe the first person you talk to a few of them and find who you have a good rapport with and which services they provide on that VIP level to help you get what you want to do.
Mhm. Okay. Hold that thought. We'll come back to that.
Can I just add as well? There is, if you go to the Disney website, which is the UK version of Disney.
Yeah.
If you go there, it does give you an 0800 number.
Okay.
It's 0800 028 0778, which again, having used it previously, it actually just gives you a low cost
US.
phone call that drops you into the US booking system.
I
It's
felt
really
like I was
easy.
on a 90s kids TV show on a Saturday morning, though, John, where you were reading out the phone number to ring in.
Swap shop.
Yeah, talk to the guests. Ring in. Okay. So those are the kind of the tour experiences. There are things like dining and dessert parties. So they kind of add a little bit of extra sprinkle to your Magic Kingdom or Epcot fireworks experience. I've done the Magic Kingdom dessert party twice. I've done one, I think both times it's been before the fireworks. And both times have been on Tomorrowland Terrace.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that one as well. There's a few different options. There's one that's called treats and seats where you sit up there. There's other ones that it's a dessert party, but then you just have you have an area you go to go watch it.
Okay.
There's a post firework dessert party that you watch the fireworks and then you have the desserts after.
Okay.
But can I tell you about one of my absolute favorites?
Yeah.
And you mentioned this, is a lot of people don't know you can watch the fireworks from a boat.
Yes.
The fireworks
Let's talk about
cruises,
this, 'cause this is exciting.
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I had never done one before. But I was very lucky to experience one, in April, where we went out, we got on at the Grand Floridian, and then we went out. But what's fun about it is it's not just about the fireworks. You actually go out on the boat and they drive you all around. I mean, we went all the way over to where Fort Wilderness was. We saw the construction of the new hotel that was being built. They take you there. We went over by the Polynesian and the driver is telling you all sorts of things. We got to watch the light water pageant before we headed over. And then we headed over into the main lagoon in front of Magic Kingdom. And it's hysterical. There were like 15 boats out there that are all parked. But you have your own private boat, 10 guests max. They have drinks, they have snacks, no Mickey bars. Let me just say that. No melting ice cream. But that's all included in the entire package. So it's really a wonderful way to see the cruise. To see the fireworks.
Yeah.
They pump the music in, so you've got the music and everything.
Kingdom.
Okay.
But I have done the Epcot fireworks from.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done the Epcot ones, and we picked up the launch boat at the lighthouse at the Yacht and
Right.
Beach Club.
Yes.
And the pilot, driver. I don't know, what do you call captain? I don't know what they're...
Captain.
Took us all the way round to the back of, basically the back of Fantasmic, round by Hollywood Studios and back via, the area around the yacht and around the Swan and Dolphin. And then we parked up under the bridge between the UK and France at Epcot and watched what was then Illuminations. Be sad. From there. And it was incredible. John, you've done that as one as well, haven't you?
We've done it a couple of times. And again, just one of the best things that you can do. Yeah. And actually, we did it originally we did it as a share. Yeah. Where it was Neil and Karen from Portwood Travel who'd actually turned around and they were advertising. It was our first time going as a proper family. And we ended up on a boat with their family and actually and that'd be what, I think 2008. I
was going to say, 20 years on.
Yeah, but we've kept in constant touch with each other ever since, based on sharing that cruise. It's just like, it's how friendships are actually, I know they could talk about friendship boats and things like that, but it's how proper friendships are actually formed. And it is that type of thing. You feel as if, I know you'd mentioned it earlier in the show, Sue, about you've got that shared passion for a place that we all love, and actually being on a boat and being able to talk about it and actually then being able to experience the fireworks was quite something. It's just something absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And we actually did the Magic Kingdom one
did you? I didn't know.
And
that.
it was a Pirates and Pals cruise, which I don't think they do anymore, but it was when the kids were younger.
Yeah.
That was really good fun because actually you got a real good meet and greet.
Did you dress up?
Claire, it's me you're talking about. I think but you end up, we got, we got bandanas and all that. So we didn't, you had to feel as if you had to get into the role,
Yeah. Yeah, they were used to, and it went away. And I really hope one day they bring it back. There used to be a kids' pirate hunt that they did out of the Polynesian, where they get on the boat, and parents didn't go; it was kids only, and they would go off, and they would take them for like I think it was about 2 hours, and they'd go around the lagoon, and they would do a scavenger hunt, and they were pirates for the day.
That's amazing.
But it was. I'm going to say it was one of the COVID casualties, and it went away and it never came back. But there's so many of those experiences that people just, if people knew the amount of things there are to do in Disney outside of the parks,
this is it.
It would blow your mind. And that's what makes this show so great, is maybe we're opening people's eyes to some of this today.
My bucket list includes going out on the Grand One yacht. I fancy that. I fancy a bit of that. A bit bougie me. I really like
when you do that one, let me know.
You could be a part of that.
Split a little cost with you on that one.
Oh my goodness. It's just, I didn't even realise that so the Grand Yacht, the Grand One is like the yacht that you can take that, have that captained across, Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake, and they do the same thing where you can watch the fireworks from that. But it takes, I think the launch boats that they use for the fireworks cruises take 10 people and the captain. This takes 18, or as it says on the Disney website, 17 plus butler, which I love.
That's not bougie at all, Claire.
Right? Not at all up my street.
That's completely different to the because we did the Halloween.
You get more refined food
cruise.
You get more refined food on the Grand One.
You can have private dining. Can you imagine if you were going to propose to someone?
Yeah.
What better way than taking out the Grand One with a butler and private dining onto the Seven Seas Lagoon, and as happily ever after's going on? That's like the bucket list proposal.
Do you know how many people they tell us get proposed to on the fireworks cruises in front of Magic?
It must be like 90%.
Yeah, they said there are so many people that do proposals out on the water while the fireworks are going on.
I mean,
surprised.
Some people do it in front of the castle. some people do it in a restaurant. I can only imagine that it would be an amazing opportunity. And actually, those launch boats, the fireworks cruises, not the ground one, but the other ones, they're not as expensive as you think they would be. To be honest,
and
with you. I
especially
think
when you're sharing them with. We did a share a couple of years ago we were there for a week of Halloween, and all the tickets for the parties were sold out. So I was like, oh, we want to see the fireworks. We thought, let's do it from a different point of view. So we just joined up some friends and just split the cost, and it was an incredible evening. It really was.
Yeah.
It just adds that little extra bit of sparkle. We did it for my brother and his wife's. I think it was their 5th wedding anniversary or something, and we booked one out for all of us and their family and our family, and it was so much fun.
It's a great way for families. Sometimes you do these multi-generational trips, and you've got grandma and grandpa, and you've got uncles, and and they kind of during the day. I always tell people, make sure that you have time to spend on your own. But it's a beautiful way at the end of the day for the families to come back in and, end their night together. Hey, we're all going to go do a fireworks cruise. And sometimes you have to do more than one boat. But if you do that, they'll kind of do it where the boats stay together. If you tell them, oh, we're traveling with them,
Oh, that's nice.
they'll do it where they park next to each other. You can't jump from boat to boat, but, they'll keep it pretty close.
And they do cater for, mobility issues and things like that as well. So if someone hasn't got the best mobility, they will make sure that they're safely seated. And I think it's kind of meets everybody's needs. So definitely a bonus. The other things I had on my list, we can go quite quickly through. Things like creative experiences. So Savi's Workshop lightsaber add-on. Ben, you've done this? No.
Really? Oh, wow. I thought you would have done that.
No, every time we tried to book it, it was just, I couldn't justify the cost.
Oh, Ben.
And
Morgan has done it twice.
Oh, poor Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And Millie has done it as well. And because I think
If
one of
I
the
tell you
coolest...
how many lightsabers my son has in his room,
That sounds like my son.
Yeah, he is totally. When he grows up, he's what 20 years old now, and I think he still wants to be a stormtrooper when he grows up.
Right. I think
There's
your
room
son,
for a
my son are
lightsaber
on the
behind
same.
me.
My son's 23, and he says that Savi's is possibly one of the most exhilarating experiences he has ever been through. And I think that I went because you get to take one guest with you.
Correct.
So I went with my daughter when she did it, and she was 10 at the time. And on that particular day, we were in Hollywood Studios, and my son had bought Jedi robes. It was August. He bought Jedi robes and insisted on the sweat was pouring down his face. But he wasn't, because my daughter, who was 9 or 10 at the time, had dressed as Princess Leia in her white dress. We did her hair in space buns. And he was her protector. And we've got so many amazing photos around Galaxy's Edge dressed like that. But they went and did Savi's together. So I went with her, and I didn't know what I was going into. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. However, I would say that the showmanship and just the sheer, it's so creative and it's so brilliant. It's not just building a lightsaber. It's not just like putting bits together. It's a whole experience, and by far way more than I was expecting. So I know, Ben, it's hard to justify the cost. When you've done it, you'll go, it was totally worth it.
I think we're going to do it on our next trip. Becca's not here, so I can agree to all of this.
Ben, you have to do it, and then just let Becca come as your observationist. Justify it that way in your head. You're splitting the cost between two people.
Right. And then you just have to work out how to get the lightsaber home. The hilt does come off the blade, just in case. It does go in a
if you know how
suitcase.
many people go through TSA security with their lightsabers.
Every other person's carrying a lightsaber on their back. And it's like
they can tell where you've been. But another one that they have besides that, it's not as much as a big experience as they do have the Droid Depot, where you can build your own droid. That's great. That's maybe great for younger kids, but what a lot of people don't realize is those droids are so interactive throughout Galaxy's Edge once you build them. There's a lot of
I didn't know
interaction.
that.
build your droid and then bring it into Oga's Cantina and watch what your droid does.
Oh, really? I had no
Uh-huh.
idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
now I'm
son,
gonna have to do
when he was younger, he doesn't do it now, but he would build the droid, and then they have the backpack where you can have the droid's head popped out of the back. And, he would go to Oga's Cantina just because. But yes, the droids are interactive. There are sensors that will set off the droids to make noises and do things like that while you're still in Galaxy's Edge.
I had no idea.
Wow.
No, and I mean, in all honesty, they're the perfect play toy when they come home, too. I mean, really, it's not like you can go. It's not like you can go swinging your $200 lightsaber around the house.
Yeah.
That you put up on the shelf and go. But the droids, they can play with. I mean, so it's a justifiable expense, guys. And
have to do both.
it's a justifiable
think you
expense
will.
for that VIP add-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great. There are other things you can do in resorts and in Disney Springs. So things like Amorette's Bakery do cake decorating, and Coronado Springs you can go and do. I think you could do like mosaic making and painting things. And there is also I think there's a margarita thing, I believe.
A sangria flight. There's a sangria. There's a sangria.
I knew there was an alcohol thing. I was trying to remember what it was.
Yes, there's a sangria class. You're
Yeah.
right. There is. There's a mosaic making that you can do. There's a painting class that you can do. I think they're about $40 each.
Okay.
You can sign up for them online. There's also a kind of a mosaic making that you could do at Port Orleans French Quarter.
Oh.
I tell a lot of people, just go to your, there's some certain links that you can get that you can find out about all these extra add-on experiences. But if you're ever wondering if there's something, you can just call the Disney line. If you don't have someone helping you that knows those ins and outs, call the Disney line and say, hey, we're staying here. What's some add-on experiences that we may be able to do while we're at the resort? From taking a carriage ride around Port Orleans French Quarter to fishing. They do catch and release there. So that's something extra.
Wow.
There's so much. You mentioned it. You could go to Disney Springs, the Amorette's Patisserie, cake decorating.
You can almost go to Walt Disney World and never go in a park.
Mm-hmm.
You could.
Yeah.
You literally.
Yeah.
You
Play
can
around
go.
the golf and,
Do you know what I want to go do? Have y'all heard of this? Have you heard of kick golf?
Oh, the foot golf thing.
You
Oh, yeah, yeah.
absolutely-
My brother
it's
did that
on
with his
one of the
kids.
golf
He
courses.
said it was
and it's
amazing.
shorter. Yeah, and you play kickball, and they have the holes that are meant for the balls to go in, and you kick them
That's-
around the
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, there
sounds
really is something for everyone, I think, when you start looking outside of the parks and the experiences that you've already... Like, if you've got a park ticket and you think you've got to get the most out of your money, so you've got to be in the parks all day, actually you miss almost 50% of the options that are available to you by the time you add on all of these different things. I'm desperate to go kayaking at Fort Wilderness, I didn't know that was a thing until I looked. I was like, that
Or
sounds
go-
amazing.
Or go horse riding. Did you know you can go horseback riding if you ever wanted to go at the Triple D Ranch? I
That's
mean, you
amazing.
can do that. And there's so many special extras that are out there that can really plus up your trip. And it's such a good surprise to surprise the kids with it, or even your teenagers, or even your adult children,
Right.
Like when I took my kids on the VIP tour, they didn't know we were going on a VIP tour.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, when they found out they were going, they lost their marbles.
You just raised the bar, so that's it.
it's
100%.
just fun.
It's
to
just
surprise
Listen to
people.
this. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. The only other thing I had on my list was the special ticketed events. So I've been lucky enough to do Halloween party, Christmas party, Jollywood nights, but I haven't done any of the after hours events. Ben, you've done.
Yeah,
Ben,
we did
haven't
the,
you?
I'm trying to remember, it was a
Did you
Hollywood
do the
Studios.
Typhoon Lagoon one.
Oh, we did, it was a few years ago. I think it was before they started doing the after hours in Typhoon Lagoon. It was the Disney Vacation Club Moonlight Magic,
okay. Right.
which then turned into H2O Glow Nights.
Okay.
So it was quite an interesting experience being there during the summer, when it was like started at 7 o'clock and went through to like 11 p.m. But having a DJ on like the beach and
That's
just
cool.
endless access to all of the water rides. It was just
Yeah.
brilliant.
But those-
The after hours events are excellent. I mean, if you want lower crowds, you want, sometimes they'll have some unique character experiences that you don't see during the regular, particularly at the Christmas party and Jollywood nights and things like that. It's a great way to experience. I always tell people, you're not necessarily doing those to go on the rides. The after hours, the Disney after hours, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood, Epcot. Yeah, I can understand if you want to go ride the rides. But when you're doing the Very Merry Christmas party and Jollywood nights, and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, you're really doing it for the other things that are going on in the park and the really exclusive meet and greets that you get at those events. Look, who doesn't want to take a picture with Snow White and all 7 dwarfs?
I ended up going to Jollywood Nights on the day that I flew in December because I needed to meet Bing Bong.
That's commitment. That's commitment.
I literally hit the resort, dumped my stuff, got changed, put on some glam, and I was in Hollywood Studios by 7:30, having landed at 4:30. So it's totally worth it, and I'm so glad that I did that. I was in two minds as to whether to go or not, and the week before I got persuaded, and it was amazing. So
something tells me it's not hard to persuade
be in it
you,
to win it,
Claire. I think you're easily convinced.
I am. I'm such a mug. But do you know what? It was the best way to stay up late on an arrival day from the UK.
Yeah.
I was making the most of my first day.
Pushing through that jet lag.
Yeah,
It really helps.
And do you know what? I'd rather do that standing in the Tower of Terror courtyard dancing to, some of the music that's going on in Jollywood Nights than, trying to keep my eyes open at the resort. So, there are other things we haven't touched on, things like cabanas in water parks and stuff like that. But I think for me, we've probably cost me several $1,000s already.
So can I give you one of my favorite things? I can't actually say I've experienced this myself, but I've booked it for clients. It is probably one of the coolest things. And I'm probably going to open Pandora's box. So it's hard to
please do.
So this is a tip for all of your listeners of something that people don't know about. Have you ever heard of Celebration at the Top, Sip, Savor, and Sparkle? This is a party that goes on at California Grill, right outside the Magic Kingdom. That's in the Contemporary Resort. It's in a private kind of room off to the thing, but it's desserts. It's wines, it's desserts, it's all included. It's about $170, so you pay, but you get to have all that, have your private dessert party and all of that, and then you get to go out and watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks.
Wow.
And it's one of those little VIP touches that a lot of people don't even know exist. It only happens though on very, very, very select nights. So you always have to, it's usually a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not during the midweek. But it is something that's bookable online. But there's something that a lot of people don't know about. That's a really cool way if you're not going into the parks, but you still want that dessert fireworks experience. It's excellent.
That's such a good tip. I don't think I've even heard of that. So obviously not looked very carefully, or I've not been in the right place to see
It's hard to find. It's hard to find. And it's, I'll be honest, I was very lucky to go to what they call a master's class. And that's where we get a lot of these little nuggets, and it's you learn about these things that people don't know because they want you to know about them. They want you to experience Disney in other ways. And that was one that I just really, really like for people, especially if it's couples or adults, not kids. You can get your money out of it,
You sold me at wine.
And they're for desserts. So
Right. I just think some of these experiences are so unique. They might not be something to do on your first ever trip, but maybe they are a reason to return to Walt Disney World, so you can add them to your future trips, if nothing else. Sue, thank you so much. Lots of our listeners are in the UK, and I don't know if they realise that you can still support them from the US with their Disney trips, whether that be Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Aulani, or even Disney Cruise Line. Can you tell everyone where they can contact you and what you can provide for them as an expert agent? Because I know that we don't necessarily think about utilising an American agent. And in the UK, lots of people don't even know that it's a thing. So tell us where they can find you.
Sure. My email, it's really easy. If you ever have any questions or, want to find out more about Disney World, Disneyland, adventures, cruises, my email is very easy. It's Sue at MEI-Travel.com. If you ever need, just reach out to me. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I watch my email all the time. But I am affiliated with MEI Mouse Fan Travel, and I specialize in Disney. I do travel all over the world, but Disney is always going to have my heartstrings, and it's a passion for it. And I sit here and laugh. We just talked so much about Walt Disney World, and I have everything flowing through my head. Is like, gosh, they never even touched on Disneyland. That's a whole nother show.
We have to have you back to talk about Disneyland, Cruise Line, Aulani, all of that stuff.
And that's it. But thank you so much for letting me be part of the show. Like I said, I've listened to y'all for so long, and I do have friends that live over in the UK, and I can't wait to tell them to go listen in.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you.
We can't thank you enough.
It's been so much fun having you on the show. I've really enjoyed it. And I genuinely am now thinking, how many of these things can I squish into my 2.5 week trip in August? Because I've got 2 more trips before that. I've got one in a couple of weeks. I've got one in May where I'm on my own. So it's a little bit more cost effective maybe to do something. But yeah, there's so many options, so many things. And I am a big fan of finding people who know their stuff. So, Sue, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I know that our listeners will have just had their minds blown, but also opened, which is part of the fun.
That's it. And, like I said, just do your research to find somebody that fits you well. Get on the phone, talk to them, ask them to do, if you're in the UK, ask them to do a Zoom call, even UK agents, ask people to do your research so you can make sure that you match up with the right people.
Brilliant. So if this is your first time listening to the Great British Mickey Waffle, you can find all of our content on your podcast provider of choice or our YouTube channel at GB Mickey Waffle. And all of our socials at Great British Mickey Waffle will have different bits of information, stories. Ben, I know you're about to upload some vlogs from your trip very recently. And join us in our online community, the Waffler's Arms, which is our online Great British Mickey Waffle pub. You have to bring your own drinks, unfortunately, I'm afraid. But you're very welcome. And we talk about all sorts of things in that community on Facebook. So we will see you on the 1st of March for a new show. And we are live every Wednesday at 8:30 UK time. I can guarantee that you will be given a warm welcome in the chat if you want to join us on any of those Great British Mickey Waffle lives. So thank you, John. Thank you, Ben. And most especially, thank you, Sue, for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Sue.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you real soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my